together so they can try things. Young about it's podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends get together every week and try something new. I'm Marcus, but actually, I'm a woman with big boobs in disguise, and that's Nick, but actually, he's a Quincy.
What?
It's in reference to our episode
welcome to
Bleach.
Now Try This. We are doing Bleach, the 1,000-year Blood War arc today on the podcast, The Anime. I am so excited. Guys, this podcast is a challenge podcast where one of us challenges the other one to try something they love. And this week was my challenge to Marcus. Apologies for the delays. We were sick, but now we're back and raring to go. And next week, we are doing our Patreon episode. What's that? That's because once a month, you guys decide what we try. And this month, you guys voted and decided we're watching the new movie, Violent. I know nothing about this movie except the poster of David Harbour. That's all I know.
I've seen the same trailer twice because I was in the movie theater. I know you time your entrance to the movie theater like towards the end of them showing trailers.
I try.
But I don't do that. I like watching the trailers. I play the trailer game, which I love doing. It's the thing I've been doing forever.
I try to play with Lexi and she gets mad at me. She's like, I don't fucking know. Leave me alone.
For those of you at home, the trailer game, you can play too. You watch a trailer when you're in the movie theaters with whoever you're there with. You have to guess the name of the movie that they're showing a trailer for before they show the name of the movie in the trailer. It took her a minute to warm up to it because she is more competitive than me, but I think she is come around on it now.
Lexi's also competitive, so I just demolish her every single time, and she's like, I'm not playing. But then she'll get one, and then it'll be like, cool. I'm not playing anymore, though. It's like, you've been playing this whole time. You're just bad at it. Guys, we're so excited to have you there. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't know a lot of the movie like I don't watch a lot of movie trailers and stuff like that, and I don't keep like abreast as to what movies are coming out, so I have no idea. So going in, I'm always like, okay, blue water, probably Avatar. Nope, it was the Titanic 2 or some shit. It's always fun.
I do keep abreast at what movies are coming out. I avoid trailers, but I am pretty abreast to what is going on. Old Man Rom's mad at Violent Night in the chat. I don't know why. Guys, if you want to join our chat, twitch.tv/nowtrythiscast. We stream every Tuesday at 9 p.m. right now. Come check us out. Download us on your podcast app, but mostly join that Patreon to influence our tries every month. Next week will be Violent Night.
I know why Old Man Rom is mad. It's because he is a patron. He is a dedicated fan, and you can join him by joining the Patreon.
It makes you feel any better, Old Man Rom. I voted for yours this month. I really did. I wanted to read that goddamn book. I might read that book on my own. He's mad because last month you lost the Chainsaw Man, which we both loved. Mm-hmm. Guys, go check out our Chainsaw Man episode. But Marcus, we're here today because I have challenged you to talk about Bleach. Right before we get into it, what's going on, man? Have you tried anything new? What are you up to? What's your life like? Who are you? Oh, no, I like that question. Just last question. Marcus, who are you?
Who am I? I am a man who loves anime, loves talking with his best bud about the things he loves, and loves doing this podcast. That's who I am.
Wow.
Who are you?
Not as fucking lame as you. I'm the exact same guy.
I'm the exact same guy. It's fun times. It's all good. I'm happy. I got my tree up. Living life. Mm-hmm. I got a work event tomorrow. We're doing a dessert potluck. So
cute. What do you bring?
Daron, I think, might be baking cookies right now. I don't know, but
for your potluck?
Yeah. She specifically said, I want everyone to know that I contribute.
Oh, because you actually do most of the cooking. But,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would be. I mean, it's no shade to Daron at all. Obviously, you guys do what you have to do, and it's just a logistic thing. But I can understand where if you do the cookies, like, listen, I'm gonna cook these goddamn cookies, and everyone's gonna know that I can fucking do it.
I downplayed it, but that's exactly what it was.
Lexi does most of the cooking, but I did all the cooking this past week, and I just finished eating my meal of we did a pressure cooked pot roast
Oh,
over
nice.
some mashed potatoes with some kale and onions. It was fucking bomb.
Hell yeah.
And I ate it today, and I was like, Lexi, why didn't you tell me this was an amazing meal? And she was like, I told you it was good. I was like, no, this fucking rocked, and I need more accolades because this was so fucking good.
Man.
And she was like, it was really good. I was like, yeah, that's right. So fucking good.
I cook most of our meals, 95% of our meals.
You're a chef boy.
I'm a chef boy.
RD.
And when I think something's really good, I do not care about the validation because I make things for my taste. So if it's good, I'm like, yeah, that was fucking great. It was delicious. And Darren's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It was fucking awesome.
I just realized, is Chef Boy RD a chef boy named Artie? Chef Boy
Artie. That's
your
that's
Chef
your
Boy
rap name.
Marcus.
No, that's your rap name, Chef Boy Artie.
Guys, let us know in all the comments below what your favorite thing to cook during Christmas time is. Look at that call to action.
Yeah,
Boom.
the calls to actions I think sometimes are more smooth.
They're cringy.
They're always
almost never.
cringy.
They're always cringy. They're always cringy.
They're cringy, but sometimes they're smooth.
Guys, put down in the comments your favorite shiny Pokemon. Guys, put down the anime that you think would most be want to watch during a post-apocalypse while you're being chased by dolphins. They're all shit and cringe.
Man. Okay.
Give me one call to action. Before we move on, give me one call to action that's not cringe.
Everyone knows Bleach is one of the big three. If you disagree, leave a comment in the comment section below.
Marcus, what is the big three?
Okay, well, the big three are the top 3 selling mangas in Shonen Jump of a given era. So the big 3 were Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. For a long time, they reigned supreme in the top 3 slots of
Supreme
Shonen Jump. So everyone refers to those as the big 3.
Yeah, almost like the era right after DBZ is kind of like it was DBZ, and then all these 3 came out. That was like an era, and everyone's always trying to like define eras since then, and that's how it always works.
It gets complicated. People will like the big 3 is a thing. It's the top 3 spots in Shonen Jump. But a lot of people who don't know that, they're like, oh, Bleach isn't really part of the big 3. It's actually like Hunter x Hunter or something like that. But it's like, no, it's just a thing, a measure, a scale. These 3 slots, that's what it is referring to.
And people refer to those 3 kind of colloquially as the big 3 because of how long they reigned supreme.
Yeah.
And had no competition.
Yeah, and
really,
a lot
in terms of
times,
sales.
Yeah, in modern conversations about manga and anime, a lot of people will say like, oh, the new big 3, blah, 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 blah. But nothing has had the staying power of those franchises since. Like One Piece is still in the top 10 manga in Shonen Jump and has been since that time.
And controversially, some people kind of try to take Bleach out of that moniker because of how hard and how fast it fell out of the big 3. And now we could talk a whole episode just about the history of Bleach. And I'm sure it'll come up as we're talking about this podcast. But really quickly, it was hot. It was fucking up there. And then it took a huge downturn for so many reasons. Some people think Tite Kubo fought too much with the producers at Shonen. Some people thought he stopped caring. Some people thought it just got bad. There's so many reasons. Also, the anime started to have so much filler. There were so many reasons. But regardless, because of all that, Bleach went away. Bleach stopped doing its anime, which seems unheard of. One Piece and Naruto, their animes went all the way up until the end. They did the whole arc, and then they just straight up canceled the Bleach anime before they got through the last big final arc. It's like if they canceled the Titanic right after it hit the iceberg. Like there's no, like the movie, like there's no more after that. Like it's just like, that's the movie.
I think people know what canceling is.
What?
I think people know what it's like to
No. Let me explain it. Let me give more metaphors. It's like you have a cup of hot chocolate, you pour in the marshmallows, and you never drink it.
Okay.
Used to me off so much. I was on a roll. So now Oh gosh, I don't even know. 15 years later, right? I
Uh,
think.
I do not know. I do not have the stats because I fell off before the anime even finished.
The original Bleach anime went until 2014. So 6, 7, 8 years. 8 years ago. So 8 years later, now they have decided to adapt the final arc, the 1,000 Year Blood War arc. And then that is even mired in controversy because as Tite was making this arc in Shonen Jump, there were problems and pacing problems and speeding up problems that everyone saw as it went towards the end. But then the manga got canceled.
Oh my
The
god.
manga got canceled and Tite had to finish it in like 3 chapters. So the ending just like, and now it's
Wow.
over. And there was so much at the end that seemed to get skipped and rushed.
Wow.
So now a lot of fans like me are hoping that this anime will fix the problems of that rushness.
Unless it gets
so it's
canceled
almost-
also.
I don't know. I'm sure those numbers are fucking, honestly.
It was
I'm sure the
bought by
fucking numbers are
Disney,
great.
and Disney is quick to cancel things if it doesn't make them money.
Sure, but the fact that Disney even cared must
Yeah.
mean the hype and the numbers on this are crazy.
Yeah.
Because I do know, just anecdotally, one fact about Bleach is one of the highest selling merchandise products with an anime and a manga that's been gone for 10 years.
You
know? Like it's still sold
People
at
are
the
still
levels of
buying
almost everything
shit.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of a back matter about Bleach. Marcus, what's your history with Bleach?
I've been a weeb. I wear it with pride. I love anime. I still watch anime all the time. Never gave up on it once I started. I watched Bleach in Japanese before it aired in America. I was watching
Cool.
Bleach. You know me. I'm a fucking OG. I was already like fucking torrenting Naruto and shit and
That's
everything
wild.
of the time. So I was just like, I had Bleach looks cool. Let's start watching Bleach.
That's wild because I found it on Adult Swim like most people.
That makes sense. But at that point, I had already watched whatever was up at the time. So I kept watching it. I loved it, and I watched it all the way till the child became a woman with big boobs. And then Nell's the name.
Nell. with an N.
Okay, Nell's
N,
the
Nell.
name. So
Mhm.
Nell was a little child and she became a woman with big
Wow.
boobs. And then it was
So arguably, you stopped right before people very much say is like the best arc.
the filler. Because they literally stopped the fight and they said,
No, not the
now
fillers.
that let's take a break from this fight and take a look at something that happened a few years ago in the middle of a fucking fight. And I was like,
Marcus,
I'm done.
You're so funny.
done.
You know what's so funny? Because you couldn't be more wrong. That was not filler. And that was one of the most crucial flashbacks of the entire show.
It felt like
What it-
filler.
I know when you first saw it, you didn't know what was going on, but if you kept watching it, it
Uh-huh.
filled in the gaps of every reason we were there. It filled out every little thing of the 13 Court Guard Squad before why,
It's canon?
Urahara.
It wasn't filler?
Yes. Yes. It's called the
Oh.
Turn Back the Pendulum. And it is crucially, it's how the visors are visors. It's why Aizen is Aizen. It did all of it. It was so important. And you fell off right before that, which
No,
is so funny.
I was like, I don't care anymore. I truly could not.
Sure.
We were mid-fight, man. Like, that is a bad time to have a whole arc flashback.
Pacing has always been something that's been funny with Bleach. I've never minded it, but a lot of people agree with you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people really finally look back at the Turn Back the Pendulum arc. And when I say things like a lot of people, it's very anecdotal, but I have been a part of this fan space this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time. I've never dropped off.
Yeah.
So the whole time since it's been canceled and since it's been done, have read the manga, finished the manga, and I watch YouTube videos about Bleach at my lulls at least once or twice, like
Uh-huh.
a month, but then on my highs, like almost every day. There's a couple YouTubers that I really, really love that they'll break down what a Zanpakuto does, what their Bankai is.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
break down missing and fill the missing parts, things we don't know. They'll conceptualize the Bankais we haven't seen. And all those YouTubers, I watch them all the time because I love Bleach so much. So when I speak on
love
things
that.
that like seem agreed, it's just what I hear from that space.
Yeah.
Which
From
are
the
also huge
YouTubers.
diehard fan.
Yeah.
So-
And the commenters and stuff like that. I totally get that.
Yeah. But yeah, and then you fell off,
So
And
I
then-
fell off.
so-
I kept watching other anime. I moved on with my
Sure.
life, and I never looked back, except admittedly, because I am over here living in my own world. I'm like doing my own thing. You know, I'm
Yeah.
jiving, and then every once in a while, I get a little
You're jiving?
a little
You're
bird,
jiving?
a little bird called Nicholas Nieves, who comes in. He's like, hey, my God, did you hear about Ichigo? He's really cool. It came out with the new chapter, and I'm pretty hyped. And I was like, shut up, Nick. I don't care about
when they
Bleach."
came out with the new that one new chapter for the anniversary.
I don't remember what the
Shonen
fuck you were talking
last
about,
year?
if I'm being honest, but you were talking about Bleach a lot. Anytime
Did you
there's
watch
new
it?
stuff.
Did you read it?
No, I didn't.
Basically, so the anime has finished, the manga was finished, the anime never finished, right?
Yeah.
For the 20th anniversary, TYBW was like, "Oh, I'm going to release a little something in shonen," and released a chapter that was as long as like 6 or 7 chapters, and it was in the future after everything finished, pretty much introducing a whole new arc,
Because it was
and everyone
adult
went
Ichigo,
crazy.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, his kid's there. And it's already way better than Boruto is in terms of like annoyingness, I will say.
Is that
Like, I get it. They
still
all do
going on?
It's hard being a Bleach fan, man. It's so fucking hard because he came out with this chapter that was like 6 or 7 chapters long. It looked beautiful. It was fucking badass. It felt like old Bleach. It had old characters. It introduced some new characters, and it introduced this whole new concept. Do you want me to tell you what the concept is?
Yeah.
People have been calling it the Hell arc, or the hopeful Hell arc,
Okay.
because basically this is the afterlife and everything, right? There was a little bit of like Easter eggs way back before that people explained people of captain level power or more can't go to the normal afterlife because they're too powerful. So they go to a hell. But it was like a folklore myth, even in their realms. But somebody, an old villain, came back. And then you saw big hell gates. And what we are presuming is these people are coming back for some reason. And there's going to be a big blowout fight with a whole bunch of characters that have died, which is another reason why people seem really excited that in the anime that you watched that we're about to talk about, they showed and introduced, and I remember I showed you the picture of the first original 13 captains.
Yes.
They think that TYBW is like sprinkling that in because he's going to introduce them for the Hell arc, which would totally make sense.
Yes.
So it's hard being a Bleach fan because he is so like, I don't know what I feel like.
Yeah.
Because the way he left was so like, people think producers were involved. People think he got sick. People think he just stopped caring. So he's been very much of the mindset, which is very healthy. I appreciate it. He's very much like, if I make stuff, I'm going to make it and then I'm going to release it. I'm not going to tell you what I'm making. I'm not going to tell you when I'm making. I'm not going to set a deadline for myself.
Yeah,
if I feel like making it, I'm going to make it. You had no idea I was making it, and then I'm going to release it and you're going to love it.
Yeah.
And we have to just be here like, God damn, that's really healthy. I guess we respect you, you fucking idiot. Damn it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, how many manga creators die from stress and everything? It's zero die.
I thought you were going to say how many manga artists do that.
They suffer from stress. They're pushing themselves. Like, it is, everyone knows that how bad the work conditions are for them and how badly they work themselves to death. And like, we just had Kotaro Miura die of Berserk, and like the Hunter the Hunter Hunter guy. He is sick all the time and constantly taking breaks and coming back, and because it's a very stressful thing, especially when it's so popular and you have to constantly create shit. We have fucking not a mangaka, but the only relatable thing I think about in America is like fucking George R.R. Martin, who's created this wonderful, huge universe that everyone loves and has so much pressure to create the next thing.
And picture that with a weekly comic. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now in terms of what comes next. But for now, I made you watch. We have watched up until episode 9. I watched episode 10, and I also read the manga, so I know all this stuff. There are going to be a very small sprinkling of spoilers as I talk about stuff because it's important for the discussion. But mostly, I will try to avoid it.
Okay.
Past what we watched, but we watched the first 9 episodes of Bleach, 1,000-year blood arc.
It's funny that we're doing Bleach finally because this is something you love, and that's what this whole podcast is, right? You take something you love and you share it with your friend and force them to join you. This is one of those things that, as much as you love it and I know you love it, I would have never watched.
which is so funny.
I would have never watched this because
Sure.
I fell off of it and I decided I'm done. When I decide I'm done, I'm done.
It's hard for animes mostly because if you fall off, you're off. We've
Yeah.
talked about it. Attack on Titan, we
Yeah.
haven't finished. It's one of the best. Everyone loves it. We haven't
Mhm.
talked about it. We fell off, so we're like, we're not going to finish it.
Yeah,
You know, and we agree. It probably is one of the best. It's probably very exciting. We would probably enjoy it, but we're just like, no, I fell off.
honestly,
many
it makes
things.
me feel better knowing that it didn't end super great. So like,
I thought it wasn't even done.
or maybe the second half of the last season or something like that still needs to come out, or was like close to
It's a
coming
lot.
out. But people were like, it's fine.
Anime is and manga are one of those funny things where because it takes so long because it's serialized and everything, it's hard to stick a landing. Most
Yeah.
don't. Most don't. And I think honestly, I don't know if you're the same. I feel like I'm way more forgiving to anime and manga for not sticking the landing. I
same.
still think very fondly of some of my favorite shows. Even when the ending, I'm like, okay, you know.
Yeah. I feel like the for it's the same with things you love, and honestly, anything anybody loves, they're forgiving of. You know,
That's true.
like we love anime, we love comic books, we love like I love horror movies, you love rom-coms. Like we're more forgiving of stuff that you love. in general.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
So the Bleach, the reason I love it is I don't know. It might have been the first more. It's not adult. It's still like a shonen, but it's
Yeah.
more adult than Naruto or Dragon Ball Z in terms of some of its themes and the things it's saying. So I don't know if it's just the first one I saw, so I grabbed it and latched on. But for me, I think I've always loved, because of comic books too, I've always loved character, magic systems. I've loved delineations of power. I've loved ranking systems. I've loved organizations in my media, so in my anime.
Yeah,
And this one
me
has
too.
all of that. That every design is so unique and different. Everyone fits under the hierarchy of the power rule set, but has their own power, has their own thing, you know? And something about the organization of it all as the story has come out, I've just always loved Bleach. I've loved the organization of it. I've loved the 13 guard squad. I've loved when they've introduced the Arankar. I've loved everything they've introduced and the way it all works out. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even know what more to say about why I love it, because it's such a, like, I just love it.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
always
okay.
been my number one.
I think there's also something to be said about the fact that shonen is for like young boys, and at the time we were young boys watching Bleach.
Yeah.
You know, it could be as simple as that too. It just appealed to us.
Yeah. And I think it just didn't, like, it has its moments of levity, right? There are definitely comedic characters and comedic moments.
There's a lot of
But
comedic moments. Yeah.
There really are, but it just felt like the stakes of life and death felt grander to me than Naruto or even DBZ sometimes, or even like a lot of the other animes.
No
coming
stakes
out.
in DBZ.
No, there really
Zero
are. I'm being
stakes.
kind. There's really not.
There's
Who's the
zero
strongest?
stakes.
You
Yeah,
know?
there's zero stakes in that.
and then when people die, they're gonna come right back.
Yep.
It's like in the lore of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
no one
this
can
is
die.
like, you know, where this is like the concept of a Shinigami is, I mean, old Japanese concept of a death god. So
Yeah.
they're like this whole idea of this pantheon of people that deal with life and death. This has always been really cool to me.
Yeah, I think that Tight Kubo, I'm gonna call him Tight Kubo, even though it's Tite or whatever. Tite. What is it?
I've heard everything, so I
I'm
don't
gonna
really
call
know.
him Tight. Tight.
Okay.
I think that he does a great job of creating a world, right? Like when we watch manga, we watch anime, we've seen so many of them that are just like you're thrown into a world, but not given any rules, not given any like introductions, and the world is very simple, so it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like we don't need to know all the rules because it doesn't. In the grand scheme of things, you kind of figure it out, or you make it up in your head. Taikubo, I could tell, has a system, right? Like he creates, okay, there's hollow. How are hollows interacting with the world? Why are hollows existing? Okay, let's go. It's because of this. Okay, you have these group of people. Why do they exist? Okay, it's because of this. You have this group of people. Why do they exist? It's because of this. And it like you can see how things branch off of one another. That's why every arc feels like it comes from the original first arc that you've watched. It feels like it just hits
It
the way
really
he
feels
writes
like
it.
a build.
It builds up and it branches out, which I really like, and I got to give him a lot of props for.
Yeah, and it's funny because maybe anime still does this, but it doesn't feel like it does it as much, or maybe it feels tired. But this was the era of the anime where you can tell that everything was thought out. Ichigo is special, and you don't find out till the end. Naruto special, you don't find out, spoilers for Naruto, that his father was the fourth Hokage. You don't find that out till 400 episodes, 400 chapters in. And that just feels like an old classic manga like trope. And I just really love how it's done here, where I feel like they still do it, but it doesn't feel the same. Or maybe I don't see it as often.
I disagree.
Maybe because they don't last as long.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think it's a combination of a few different things. I think because Bleach, you find out he's special pretty quickly, right? Like he's like almost
you don't
like
know
you don't find
why
out
he's
how
special.
special, right? And even now in the
I meant the
1,000 Year
why,
Blood
yeah.
arc, we're finding out more and more about how special he is. So
Yeah.
he just keeps getting more and more special with every arc, which is a little, which I kind of don't like necessarily. But we'll get to that sort of later. But I feel like in the anime, they're like, he's special, but you don't know. I guess you don't know why. Naruto, I don't think did the same thing. Naruto, pretty immediately, they were like, he has a fucking demon fox inside of him. He's special. You know,
No, but you didn't know why it was there.
Sure, you didn't know why it was there.
The mystery box of it.
Yeah,
like,
there was a mystery box.
Like, you know, there's something, but they don't. Movies and Western media will tell you that right away. Manga will wait 300 chapters to
explain.
Then we see the flashback of when the demon fox got inside of him.
Got it. Okay, that's what you
And oddly enough, the episode that's coming out next week is called Everything But the Rain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so hyped for it because that is the manga chapter of the the demon fox going into Naruto flashback. It's another flashback, and we find out why Ichigo is special.
Now, about Ichigo being special, I'm just gonna skip talking about modern anime and all that stuff because I want to. I don't understand any of it because it feels like to me every arc it goes like this. There's a new kind of villain. Ichigo is magically ready equipped to deal with it because of something we don't know about. That he's just like, so Hollow's introduced? Fine, he's a fucking magical Shinigami. Okay, cool. Awesome, I guess. Fucking, what was the next one? Oh, okay, all of a sudden he's part Hollow. What? Why is he part Hollow now? That doesn't really fucking make any sense. Now you got this new arc. Okay, now he's part Quincy. Okay, I guess he's part Quincy now. It feels like I don't know when that's gonna stop. Like in the next arc, when you're talking about hell, is he magically gonna have been from hell also? Like it just feels like that's the direction every arc goes.
I could be wrong. But it's funny because I understand it's frustrating, but this is why when I read the 1,000 Year Blood arc, I loved it so much because I've been loving this anime forever. And there's always been something unsaid about Ichigo, just like Naruto, or just like any of these main like shonen protagonists, where it says it's giving us everything, but we're sitting there like, why? Where did he get the hollow? What's going on?
Yeah.
But it's so badass, you just kind of like accept it, and he trains, and then he's there, and then cool. This is when it happens. Like, yes. They go to the Soul Society and then they fight Shinigami. Then they go to Wakamundo and they fight Hollows. Then they go to the fake Korokoro town and fight Aizen. Then they go here and they're gonna fight Quincy's. Yes, it's like enemy after enemy.
But then he becomes. It's not that he becomes those things, or he is those things also.
Yes, but
that's the part.
This is when we find out this connects Aizen, the Quincy, the Hollow, all of it. Like literally, like we delayed this, so it's not like we could have waited even more to have even more episodes. But if I were so lucky to have you continue watching it, literally the next chapter explains it. It's finally in Naruto, we meet his mom and dad.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, I know that most people can't stand it. And I know it's probably not for everyone, but when that moment happens and Naruto meets his dad and his mom and they help him one last time seal up the Nine Tails, that's why the whole journey was the way of the journey was for me. And literally no other media does it this way. No other media takes this long. No other media, I feel like, rewards you for watching 300 episodes, but anime and manga. You know what I mean?
Also, I mean, just to your point, I feel like a lot of modern anime doesn't have the opportunity to do this stuff, right? Like,
Yes.
there's a whole new problem with manga where manga is coming out in Shonen Jump and it's lasting like 2-3 weeks and then getting canceled because it's not doing numbers. And so
Yeah.
a lot of these things are setting up mystery boxes like classic anime, but we are never getting the reveal
Yes, this is true.
because
This is true.
because it gets canceled.
Yeah, it's troubling. It's troubling. But we also can't ever go back to the way things used to be because we were literally like killing people underneath the stress and the like parameters of what was going on.
Yeah. Also, I feel like now too, because of everything, it's like a money machine and everything has to be, you know, more about like what can do the numbers, what can be the money. We have immediate results too. Like back in the day, it would take a while to get to know exactly how many people purchased the fucking thing.
Oh, sure. We didn't come to America until half a year later.
Exactly. But now it's everywhere in all countries, day of release or at least the month of release. And then you can track exactly how many fucking things sold, exactly how many people read it online on your website, how many clicks it brought. Like, and then they're like, okay, I don't care anymore. So it goes in the trash.
We are never going to be able to explain to our children that Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT ended in 1996 in Japan, and we didn't start getting Dragon Ball Z till 1998.
Yep.
And then and then like 6-7 years later we're finished. And we couldn't get info on it. We got weird under-resed images of stuff that was mixed with fan theories and fanfics that we could never. Everyone remembers in our generation that it was a weeb seeing their friend's weird printout of white-haired Goku and thinking that was what was Endgame, and it just being completely fake and literally not being able to know.
Super Saiyan 5 Goku is the shit, man.
And not real. And we would, and it's just such a different time. You're totally right. It's totally a different era.
When I was younger, I used to print pictures of Dragon Ball Z characters in the library, and I would color them at home. It was the shit. It was the best. I loved it. It was dope.
Joseph printed pictures for me to have. Because I didn't have a printer. Daron, imagine printing a spoiler and bringing it to school. What a world. You can't. It's not that way anymore.
And rumors exist. Like so many rumors existed where it was like there was, because I grew up in the Bronx, it was a lot of Black and Hispanic kids. There was like a website dedicated to like a Black Goku, and it was like blackgoku.com or something like that.
Oh wow, I didn't know about this.
All of my friends were like, Goku's gonna become black. There's gonna be a black version of Goku who comes in the anime.
Oh my goodness. And that was probably the one where you're like, I was
like, maybe not. But this Super Saiyan 5 thing sounds real.
So Marcus, please, just to start off to talk about this anime, talk me through you starting to watch it.
Okay, so I get in. I'm comfy, cozy. I put on my thing. I'm like, you know what? I've watched a lot of anime. I can skip a season. That's totally fine. I've turned it on. It starts immediately. First question: who the fuck are these people? Am I supposed to know who these people are?
Beautiful, but no idea what this is.
Beautiful animation, music.
Tickles those memory buds.
Love it. Fucking soundtrack beautiful, art phenomenal, graphics, everything phenomenal. I don't know who these people are. And then they're like talking. I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to know who these people are. Cool. I'm back. I'm back in. Then they show, then some hollows come. They get fucked up. Then they show Ichigo. He comes in. He's like, I know who that is. Then his friends come in and go.
Vaguely remember.
I know Chad because he's Hispanic. He's one of mi amigo. Okay, he's one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other ones,
Orihime.
Orihime. I almost called her Inoa or whatever. Is that her last name?
Oreo. You know what? That's also a problem with Bleach specifically that I have, because I watched it growing up in English, and then I caught up, and then I watched it in subtitles. And in one of them, they use their first name, and one of them, they use their last name.
Yes.
The same thing happens with My Hero. So I almost always use the first name, which is their last name, to describe them. But if I'm talking to someone that did the dub, they're using their last name, which is their first. It's always confusing. It's never the same name.
I do not know which one she is, but I was like, that's one of the girls. He had to save her in Huecamundo.
Or Orihime. I call her Orihime, but you might know her as Ino.
And then they had the glasses guy, who's
Uryu Ishida.
Ishida. I knew that.
Ishida. Okay.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, my friends,
So funny.
they're back.
Uryu. Yeah.
I was hyped. I was excited.
Wasn't it hyped right away? Like
was
how
hyped.
fucking
It was
beautiful. And like they knew exactly what they were doing, where it's like,
Yes.
let's just fucking put some hollows and have them fucking destroy them all with their
Yeah.
powers.
Yeah.
And just show like they're just on another level now. Just
Yeah.
to show they are not regular Shinigami anymore. They are fucking badass.
I love an
Um,
introduction like this. I love when you're like setting up new characters to be saved by old characters to show how badass the old characters have gotten since you last saw them. I eat that shit up. I love it.
Now, I don't know how you felt because it's actually kind of confusing what happens from here. And the only reason I know is because I was reading the manga and like it's just a continuation of what was happening. But like they introduce you to an Arankar who's dressed like a new enemy, but he's not the new enemy because he's an Arankar, which is part hollow. And he's hard to beat, but then he's able to beat him. And then he goes back to a new enemy you didn't know that is an enemy that you did know that you thought was extinct, but they're enslaving this old enemy you didn't know, which is the Arankar.
Nick, that word kind of is holding up the entire galaxy in that sentence because kind of is very generous. This shit is very confusing because I see an Arankar, which for those of you who don't know is a half hollow, half person, Soul Reaper.
It's actually more confusing than that. It's a hollow that has transcended in power so much that it's closer to being a Shinigami than it is a hollow anymore.
But it's still a
so
hollow.
It's a hollow that has humanified and has a Zanpakuto
Why does it have a Zanpakuto?
because it's transcended the power levels of just being a hollow. So a whole bunch of the
So you just get a
So a whole
sword?
bunch of
You
the-
just get a
No, no, no.
Zanpakuto?
if you transcend to a certain point, yes. So there's two
Who
kinds of
gives it?
Arankars.
Who's
There's a
giving
natural
out
cool.
Zanpakutos?
Aizen. So there's two kinds of Arankar. There's one kind of Arankar that's a natural born Arankar. That's a hollow that has collected a whole bunch of hollows and basically fused them
Like
together. Like
Grimjaw.
it's so strong.
Just
Yeah,
kidding.
it's so strong that it's
Oh,
taken
I
other
was
ones
right?
and made itself go exactly 100%.
yeah.
Vasto Lorde hollow has absorbed other hollows and he becomes an Arankar. Or there's a fabricated Arankar which Aizen made with the Hogyoku, which the Hogyoku
Oh my god!
is a device that breaks the barrier between Shinigami and Hollow. And the whole thing of Aizen was he wanted to transcend to a being past the Shinigami. So the Arankar are what is past a Hollow. Like it's their next level. It's their Super Saiyan. It's their Super Saiyan. An Arankar is a Hollow Super Saiyan, right?
But not
That's
every
easy.
hollow can become a Arankar. It takes like work.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that kind of makes
And
sense.
the only reason you're
this is
introduced
so
to them is
confusing.
literally okay. Cool.
Like I love Bleach
this.
so much, but
Yeah.
it is a lot of work. Like I am watching this. I have Daron watching it with me, and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" I was like, "I don't even know
she's
what
never
the fuck's
watched any
going
Bleach,
on."
right?
No, and I was like,
Oh,
"I
I
don't
love
even know
it.
what the fuck's going on." And I know,
Yeah.
I know more. I should know more.
You should have been watching weekly Bleach videos like I was to prepare yourself. That's
Okay,
your fault.
So, God, I'm gonna need a lot explaed to me. You
Please,
have a
I love
Arankar.
this.
What's a Visored?
Oh, that's easy. That's so the arc that you skipped,
Uh-huh.
the turn back the pendulum, you found out that Aizen was experimenting with the Hogyoku because he wanted to transcend a Shinigami.
Yes. Okay.
And his thought of transcending a Shinigami is kind of, to put in really layman's term, combining a Hollow and a Shinigami, basically, right? Like
Yeah,
breaking down the barrier. And the Vizards are his first experiment. So basically, a whole bunch of captains found out that Aizen's a little fucking bitch, and they came to confront him. But he used the device, the Hogyoku, to basically hollowify them a little bit.
Okay.
So they like started to get hollow inside of them.
Okay.
And the 13 Court Guard Squad and the Yamamoto, the first captain, thought that they were the bad guys and banished them all. So
Okay.
they went and trained themselves to deal with their hollowification, and they're the ones who trained Ichigo to use his
So
hollow
why
mask.
is Ichigo, who wasn't there, a hollow?
That's the beauty of Bleach. You never know until now.
That's
Next
not
week's
beauty!
episode. Oh, that's so cool. It took that
That's
long
not
to explain.
beauty!
That's beauty. How do you get away with that? Because
No!
how can you explain to me how
'Cause
you're
this
such a
content is
good
for
creator?
children.
Nah, how can you explain to me how it's so good that you can have arcs and arcs of story that everyone loves and is invested in without knowing the main premise of the show? And the main premise of the show is that Ichigo is a
Yeah, Stockholm Syndrome is the answer.
The main premise of the show is that Ichigo is that transcended being that is Hollow, Quincy, Fullbring, and Shinigami. We didn't even mention Fullbring. Forget I mentioned that. We won't talk about that.
What's Fullbring?
Fullbring is what Urahime and Chad are.
Why is he Fullbring also?
So a Fullbring is a human.
No!
A Fullbring is a human.
I'm tired!
A Fullbring is a human that had a life-altering event happen to them as a child with a hollow. So basically, like a hollow killed their mom or like did something, right? And that essence of hollow like seeped into their human being. And that is why they have like special spiritual awareness and are able to have powers like Chad.
Okay.
And the way Fullbring works is they have an item that embeds themselves with
How do they
emotionally
get the item?
that focuses their. It's just it's a focal point. It's a fulcrum. It
just shows up.
It's no. It's something they choose. So for Orihime, it's her bandettes.
Got it.
Because they were a gift from her brother, and that's how her power manifests. Chad, he's proud of. This is actually pretty dumb. He's proud of his skin. So
This
his
is
skin
pretty dumb? This is actually this one is pretty dumb.
It's only dumb because he has a medallion that totally could have been it, but now they're like, nah, his skin. He's proud of his skin.
medallion that was given to him by his grandfather.
Grandpa,
or something
yeah, that would have
like
totally worked. But they're
That-
like, nah, it's his skin. Anyway,
That
so Ichigo,
is
the premise of the
confusing.
show is Ichigo is the center point of all those things, and that's why the whole show is happening. And you find that out next chapter.
I gotta say that I don't think I like that. Right? I feel like every anime kind of has, I guess there's three options, right? You have your
Okay.
character progressively become stronger by just like training and getting stronger and discovering their own powers. You have their character,
Do you have an example of each too?
Dragon Ball Z, Goku, just
Goku,
fighting until he's stronger and then becoming stronger each time. And because he's a Saiyan, he has special whatever. The special person has the special abilities. Ichigo is sort of modeled after like, Ichigo is the only one I can really think of right now where he's like, I am growing because I am also like whatever I'm fighting. I am growing in this arc because I'm part Aloe. I'm growing in this arc because I'm part Quincy. I'm growing in this arc because I'm Fullbringer or whatever the fuck, which is wild. Or you have the character, which is the rarest of the anime, where they just outsmart their opponent. That one you don't see a lot of.
Like Light Yagami? Well,
I
no, he
would
got
say-
gifted a thing. He got gifted a power.
I would say like
It's not a lot of those.
it's rare. It's not. Yeah, it's not. I mean, you could be gifted a thing. You could be
With
gifted a thing,
time,
but
we could figure it out. But
Batman is
Rock-
what I think of.
Rock
Whatever
Lee?
anime Batman
Rock
is.
Lee?
Rock Lee is a good example.
Rock Lee?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I understand. I mean, when we went over, when we did Unordinary, like you said, it's one of your biggest pet peeves. Like, I hate when everyone has all the powers and that they're just special because of that. And they just have basically plot armor, Deus Ex Machina at the end.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of anime and manga.
It is. And I don't watch a lot of those.
That's super fair. And I totally get that. I think it's earned because it was so clear. Once it's all laid out in front of you with the arc that you skipped and then this thing coming up, it's all laid out like it was all planned. And I think that's the only way you can do it where it's at all like rewarding in the least. Because when you do this and it's just like, yeah, he's the special one. It's like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But you can tell the plan was here. Like
for sure.
Oh man. So like,
I'll give them credit for that.
Never mind. I was gonna spoil something
Don't
that
spoil!
like I was about to spoil something big that like is like when you find it out. When I found it, I was like, that makes so much sense. Of like something that's been there the whole time that you accepted. That's actually this other thing, and you're like, I was staring at it. I was staring right at it in front of my face. You know,
I like
so
that.
it does have those moments.
I liked it a lot. I just don't like when it's this other thing that you could have never guessed and was not part of the world, which I think sometimes he kind of gets close to, but for the most part, I do think that he just has a plan there.
Right, because when you're reading and watching, you know there's something going on. They're just not telling you.
Which is kind of annoying as a viewer. Because it's like, it's one thing if it's presented as like, you're going to get the answer. It's another thing if it's just like, nah, it's just there to be cool. And it's hard to tell which is the case, like which one it is sometimes.
I agree with you.
For Bleach.
I agree with you. But for me, when I got that moment that I didn't expect was coming, it just felt so rewarding because I never knew. And then, so for the show, we are introduced as characters, and Arrancar shows up in a weird costume with a weird medallion, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? But then basically all of that is just a prologue to meet our new villain, the Quincy, which is an old villain. Do you know what the Quincy is?
Yes, the Quincy. Ishida was the last Quincy. He made a big to-do about being the last Quincy. He was like, it's my whole fucking personality. And then all of a sudden, he's not the last Quincy.
Basically, 1,000 years ago, the 13 Court Guard Squad destroyed all the Quincy because they were messing up the balance of the world and
committed genocide.
Wouldn't listen. Basically, well, not basically, 100%.
It was genocide.
Yeah, 100% genocide. And we found out that their leader didn't die. He just needed 1,000 years to recoup his power, and now they're back to basically do war.
It's a weird. Go ahead.
Will admit, like, this beginning is like confusing, but like when you get down to brass tacks and when you get to like episodes 4 and 5 here, I think. No, I'm saying like the introduction of everything. If you don't know what's going on, I'm sure Daron was there. Like, who's this? What's this? What's going on? What's this?
Yeah.
But once you get to the point, it's like, there are these Shinigami, they got powers. There are these Quincy, they got powers. They're the bad guys. We're fighting. It's simplified.
It evens out in the end. You're like, good guys, bad guys. I got it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated anymore.
What were we going to say?
I was going to say that it is interesting. Because I feel like for 1 second they tried exploring something and then they immediately like took a shit on it, where they were like, okay, the Quincy were genocided by the Soul Reapers and now they're getting revenge. That is interesting. I get that. Okay, cool. Like, yeah, you definitely want revenge, right? And then you find out that the Quincy were just trying to destroy the world anyway. So it was like, okay, I guess they should have been genocided. And then they're also like now weirdly Nazi themed, which is like another whole strange thing.
So you just
unless I find out another thing later about they weren't actually really destroying the world.
I think you just read into it differently than I think I did, and then I think the intention was. It's they wanted to live their lives and do good. It's just the way they did it destroyed a hollow. And that destroys souls, which tips the balance of souls. And they weren't being reasoned with the right way because the Shinigami were overlording fucking dictators.
That's
and
the part
like,
that's missing.
You stop doing this or else we're going to fucking kill you all. And there's these Quincy's who all these people. It's like, we're doing good in the world. This is our world to live. We're human, not you. We're living our lives. You can't be gods to us from your fucking ivory tower.
That's the part that's missing right now in the anime. I haven't gotten to that yet.
Well, now it's gone. I think it's got lost on you.
Because they never got
that.
It's there enough. Like there was no rebuttal, right? Like the story we got in the anime so far in the episodes is the Soul Reapers committed genocide, but the justification was that they were like killing hollows the wrong way and they were like intending to do good. And we're only getting the narrative from the Soul Reaper side, really, of them saying like, we tried to reason with them. Totally. So you're not seeing like the other side where it's like, okay, maybe a flashback. It might happen later. I don't know. I'm only on episode 9. But maybe a flashback to conversations, seeing that they were actually being strong-armed and that they weren't being as reasonable. That way you're sympathetic to them a little bit. But right now, one of the captains said something about like, oh, wow, we really like have to think about what we did because we committed genocide. So they're coming back for revenge. Maybe it's justified. But then immediately was like, no, they were squashing that question because they are just bad guys who were doing things the wrong way and wouldn't listen to reason.
There's a little of it, but I think you are going to be at a loss for what you're looking for because I think what you're looking for is Ishida's whole character up until now. It's not in the show because it's assuming, and I agree that it's a flaw. Because we're picking up where we left off. This isn't a new thing. We're picking up. You're supposed to come with the background matter of all of Ishida's characterization, which is that the Quincy were destroyed in this way. And you do get moments of it because like a lot of these Quincy the Vandenreich are loyal to Yuhabak, the ultimate evil Quincy
Mhm.
dude, because he's basically their god. He's their Jesus. He's Jesus. He's totally Jesus. Like there's
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
no
There was a whole
comparisons.
thing about
It's fucking
him being
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah.
100%. But some of them aren't necessarily the worst people. Some of them are fucking nuts and fucking monsters. But there's one or two that like aren't. And I think there's a little of that. So I hope that maybe that'll like can sway you. But it is anime. They are just the bad guy. And they
Yeah.
do have a Nazi theme. And like I think there are parallels of like, you know, there's a little bit of like of we got caught up in this thing because of what happened and what we were told. But like it's very clear Tite Kubo is like they're Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which honestly is really cool visually. Like I love the look of the Vandenreich. I love the music, the marching music of this like fucking evil force coming in to these like feudal Japan characters that
Mhm.
we know and love, and it's like very scary. It looks cool to me.
Yeah.
But you're right, they are Nazis.
They
They
are
are just Nazis. They are just Nazis.
I have a question. So, okay, a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, but
You're
so-
asking for a spoiler of something that's going to happen?
sort of. So basically,
please.
I was in the middle of work listening to my like just YouTube videos, and a video started playing when my boss had come to talk to me, and it was just straight up Bleach spoilers. and I
And you couldn't stop it? Yeah. Please.
So
Guys, skip ahead a couple minutes if you don't want the
the
spoiler. Go ahead.
video was talking about, and I didn't watch it because I turned it off after, but I got enough of it that I was like, the video was
You have a
talking
question.
about how the Quincy are allergic to hollow stuff, but no one actually used any of their hollow powers to fight them. Is that a thing?
Yeah, so the whole 1,000-Year Blood War arc is basically the biggest arc there is, right? It's
Mhm.
it's the fifth Ninja War in Naruto. Basically, every character that's ever been introduced is involved, and there's literally hundreds. And now they're introducing 26 brand new Vanden, right? Because they each have a letter.
Yeah.
So whereas the 13 guard squad, there were 13. The wrong card, there were 10 levels. There's 26 unique new characters being introduced, which is awesome because the best thing Taita Kubo does is make characters and
Yeah,
powers.
yeah.
So some of them are so fucking cool.
But he
But
makes too many sometimes.
Because
also.
of how bloated this arc is, there's a lot of little things that are just like questions that don't get answered. Like there's power level things like this person beat this person, but then this person beat this person, but that person couldn't have beat this person. So there's a whole bunch of like things that if you really get, and one
Yeah.
of them is, yes, the Ray Quincy work is they pull Ryatsu spiritual energy
Mhm.
from their surroundings. That's why they're special. And Soul Society is made of it. So they're very
Yeah.
powerful there. That's how they make their blue arrows. They're pulling from the spiritual pressure of the world. And when they pull the spiritual pressure of a hollow, it's tainted. It's evil. It's
Yeah.
poison. And yes, there are characters like Shinji and the Vizards, like you mentioned, that have hollowification powers. So they don't use those powers. Ichigo doesn't use his mask at all in this anymore.
That's crazy.
One theory is after the Aizen battle, a whole bunch of the Vizards came back and assumed their old captainships.
Yeah, I
right?
saw
'Cause their names
we
are cleared.
see one of the guys.
A big theory is Yamamoto and the 13 Core Guard Squad, the Soul Reapers, outlawed holification or took it away or said you can't do it anymore. Like something happened there. Because
Yeah.
why else would there literally be zero use for it when it was such a big part?
Yeah,
But that's never said. It's a
that's
theory.
weird. That's weird.
It's one of
But
those things where
wanted
there's
to
just
ask
so
you
much
about it.
going on. Yeah. There's a lot of them. And honestly, if you fucking continue watching, I'll fucking talk to you about them all fucking day because I've been watching videos about them for the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, about-
It might have been one of the videos you've watched. I don't know, but it was just like
honestly, probably. I
autoplayed
bet our
and I was like,
algorithms are going like
wait,
this.
what happened?
Yeah. So I do want to get into the show because there's just
We got
There's
into
just-
the show. Don't
no.
don't
I just made
downplay
a specific.
yourself,
You're right.
our
You're right. I just want to
podcast.
get to some specific moments
Okay.
because here we are setting down the foundation. We know who the bad guys are, and then there's basically two invasions. You see this first invasions, and they're basically
Yes.
like, "We're coming back, bitch," and that's like really when
They
the war like
invade
fucking starts.
Hueco Mundo and they invade the Soul World
Mhm.
in the first
So,
9
Soul
episodes.
Society,
Soul
yeah.
Society.
And they imply they're about to come back soon.
Yeah.
And they do. And that's when all the fucking mayhem starts, right? This is just like a prologue.
Mhm.
But basically, you find out Yamamoto couldn't kill Yuhabak the first time. So Yamamoto is like, hey, bitch, I'm fucking getting the job done now. And this is the first time we see Yamamoto, the Squad 1 captain, the creator of the Soul Reapers, fight full tilt. He's always been this old man in the background, being strong, being imposing, with a fucking huge ass walking stick
Yeah.
that we never know. And you got to see this fucker fight. What did you think when we finally saw Yamamoto fucking do
It was
his
pretty
shit?
impressive. I feel like anime loves
Oh.
a secretly strong old man. Like it is their favorite
Oh, it
thing.
does, yeah.
Master Roshi.
Ever since Master Roshi, yeah.
You just fucking they always got to have it. And so it
At least
paid
this
off.
one, they told you he was the strongest.
It was cool as fuck.
Some day one.
It was cool as fuck.
So,
The
it was
animation
animated
was
so
beautiful.
good.
Yeah, the
Oh,
fight, the
God.
choreography was great. Like everything
Gosh.
about it was like spot on. It was incredible.
And I don't know if you're like me and like old fans, I assume you are, where one of the coolest parts about Bleach, one of the biggest like moments is when someone new releases their Bankai.
Yeah.
And you get to just see what it is.
Yeah.
Wasn't Yamamoto's Bankai so perfect?
It was really
and
cool. The fact that it had
And
like different, like the north, the west, the east, and each thing had its own fire related
But all
power.
fire.
It was so cool. It was very,
so-
very cool.
So one of them was he takes all the fire and literally just puts it in the tip.
Yeah.
One of them was he covers himself with fire. One of them was
He brings back the
uses the
dead.
fire to bring back the dead.
Which
And then I think the
doesn't,
other
that one
was
doesn't
just-
make sense, but whatever. I don't care. It was cool.
It was cool when he was like Jungo Dunga whatever South and all these fucking dead ass Quincy's come up.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
feel
cool.
like that is a problem with this anime, though, is that there are a lot of things that's like that, like you said it yourself earlier. There's a lot of shit that's like, yeah, make him a hollow also. That's cool. And it's like, yeah, it's cool and it's badass, but it's like, okay, but does it make sense? Does it fit into the power structure set up in the world? And like you said about this person beating this person, it's like, I feel like power levels aren't
Power level is one of the weakest things about Bleach. I
super
will
well
give you that.
defined. And also I feel like power levels are fine and it's fine to subvert power levels, but like show how that's happening. That's something I like about Hunter x Hunter. Like the character can have a shitty ability and they can beat the most powerful person if they know how to use their ability really well and can outthink and outmaneuver their opponent. So it's like I like a fluid power system like that. And
Yeah,
this
whereas
could
this one is
easily
doing-
be like that because they have
But
a
this
lot of
one-
cool bankais.
Yeah. While this one sets up a parameters like a DBZ where you literally know people's power levels. There's lieutenant, and
Yeah.
there's captain, and they literally say you're at a captain's level of power.
Yeah.
You know, they literally say that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So I totally agree with you. There's a little bit of wishy-washiness. It's a loose power
Yeah.
system.
But the
you know,
problem is
he has
that, like,
power powers. What does that mean? I don't know.
The problem is that it could be cool. Like if
is.
the fights are really cool, but it could be like, oh, I'm using my power in a unique, interesting way that I haven't seen yet. It might come later.
It happens sometimes. But mostly it's I haven't revealed it, and here's my power. And it's about to fucking
Exactly.
blow you back. Well, speaking of Marcus, do you think you have a good handle and recollection on what Zanpakutos are and what people's powers are?
Yeah, I remember all of them, baby.
Good, because we're gonna play Who's That Zanpakuto?
Nice.
Now try this trivia. Now try this trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia this.
Okay, Nick, what is this game?
So for this game, I have 6 characters, and 5 of them, if you recall from your childhood, you might know where you stopped. You might not know. You might know like 2 or 3 of these if you recall.
Okay.
But most of them were revealed after you stopped watching, and most of them aren't spoilers. There's one spoiler for later, but I don't give a fuck. And there's one that could be considered a spoiler, but I don't really think it is. So
Okay.
why don't you first pull up Shunsui? My boy Shunsui with the beautiful fucking
Floral
cherry blossom
kimono
cherry blossom
thing.
coat. Yeah, and
Beautiful.
fucking in this arc, you find out why he has it. You find out even more, and he is very unique because
Okay.
he's one of the only people with twin Zanpakutos.
Wow.
He has 2 swords. It's very rare. There's only 2 people as of now while you're watching that have this. And it's this guy in the 13 squad captain. But I want you to tell me, this captain, who now becomes the first captain, formerly the 8th division, what does his Zanpakuto do for a point? And then for a bonus point, I'll ask you what their Bankai does. But what does his Zanpakuto do?
I feel like this was he has a gaming thing, right?
You saw past where you saw.
I saw past where I saw.
What you said you saw.
I think what did you say?
You saw past what you said you saw.
You saw.
Yeah, you saw past what you said you saw.
I did not. I only saw episode 9. I haven't watched 10 yet. Does 10?
No,
does he do
I
his
mean
thing?
back in the day. I think you went on and off a little more than I think you let on.
skipped the flashback, and then I think I went back a little bit, but I didn't watch the whole ending fight.
Well, whatever. This game's less fun now because you couldn't guess. But yes, his Zanpakuto is he creates a children's game with his powers.
I don't remember that. If I'm
so
being
it
honest.
makes children's games real.
Someone said that in a video or something. I think that was not Bleach related.
And also, if you want, I can give you his Shikai command. It's Flower, Wind, Rage, and Flower God's Roar, Heavenly Wind, Rage, and Heavenly Demon Sneer. It's fucking so crazy. I know. But basically, his is cool because he's shown us 4 different games. And one of them is like the first one to touch your shadow loses. Another one is like a wind attack. Another one has to do with colors.
Cool.
A colors game where you say the color. Yeah, it's very weird and like finicky where like he's playing the game.
Yeah.
So he could lose the game too. And it's
That's
described of his Zanpakuto is so unique because there's 2. And one fan theory that is heavily like reinforced is the reason he has 2 and one of them is a little smaller is because one of them's his child with his Zanpakuto. Like he created a Zanpakuto with his Zanpakuto spirit, and which is why
his child's spirit.
No, he had a kid. He had relations with his Zanpakuto, which created a second Zanpakuto.
Oh, that's weird.
The theory, it is weird, but his is weird. And one of the reasons people think that is because remember the filler arc that there was the war with his Zanpakuto?
That I skipped.
Well, they show his personification, which is his older lady, and then the other one's this younger girl.
Oh, okay.
Any idea what his Bankai is? Because this is a spoiler.
Wait, the Bankai is not the game?
No, that's a Shikai. That's his first form.
Oh my god. I forgot.
No,
everything.
you wouldn't have seen it. It hasn't come up yet.
No, I thought it was Bankai. I thought Bankai was the special form.
Oh yeah, Bankai is the special
What's
form. I'm saying
Shikai?
you haven't. Shikai is the normal form. The first release.
So what's Ichigo Shikai?
A big sword.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
So like take the ice guy.
I thought everyone
his
just
Shikai
had a sword. Was the first form.
There's 2 levels. There's just a sword is the first form. Then Shikai is the second form, and then Bankai is the third form. So like the ice guy, his Shikai is he makes ice, right? But then Bankai is when he gets his ice armor and shit.
That's another thing I had a problem with this anime. It feels like everyone's revealing their fucking Yu-Gi-Oh trap card every 3 seconds. And it's like, when is it going to end? What is it like? What is the final form? What is like, stop it.
It's Bankai. That's the final.
Goku, at least like, look, no, not giving
No,
props to
not
Dragon
at
Ball
least.
Z.
He's the worst one.
Goku
He's the
just
worst one.
transforms, right? Like,
All the
you know he's
time,
going to transform.
whenever he needs
But he
to.
transforms. He like, you know, in a new fight, he's going to transform one time. That is
That's
coming.
dumb.
You see it. It's dumb. But
That's
it's
bad,
like,
but-
it's like if he transformed 10 times into 10 different things.
But that's
that
what's
you
happening. There's
never
3
saw
levels.
again.
There's 3 levels. There's 3 clear levels. There's 3 levels, and once it's released, it's just that happens with 100 different characters.
And every time, like a fucking trap card. Okay. I don't know what his Bankai is.
What do you think his?
I'm assuming, okay, if the ice guy has ice sword, ice armor, this guy has
Children's
games.
games, and
then adult games.
Sort
Naked
of.
Twister.
Small spoiler,
Okay.
and I won't explain the whole thing, but basically his Bankai is a 5-act play.
Oh my
Where
god.
in Act 5, you die.
How do you
It's
make
so
it through all the
cool.
acts? It's not
It's so
cool.
cool. It's so cool. When he does it, it's so cool.
I disagree. I
It's
disagree.
so cool. All right. Well, you got 1 point. And his Zanpakuto is called Kaiten Kyokatsu.
Okay. Okay.
Now, will you please pull up Shinji for me?
Oh my god. This is
Shinji, you'll recall,
You're
is a
making
visor,
me.
as you said.
Look, Nick. I'm gonna be super honest with you. I liked this anime. I liked watching Bleach. This conversation, this game, is taking me back. I might not keep watching.
These are all revealed. All the rest are revealed.
Okay.
Shinji, you remember Shinji, right?
Yeah, he didn't use Bankai.
Doesn't mean he doesn't have one that you know about.
I know, because he's captain, so he has to have.
Do you
a
remember what
Bankai.
his Shikai is? What's his Shikai? What's his first release?
A slice? He slices you hard.
Nope.
I don't remember.
Take your guess.
Big slice. He does a big slice.
I'll give you a clue. if you remember when Shinji was introduced in the show,
Uh-huh.
they always showed him like floating like upside down or backwards or
Oh, does he have a gravity thing?
sort of.
Okay, what is it? Just tell me.
When his Shikai's release, it releases a pink mist that if you inhale it, it introduces you to the inverted world. It's called Sakanade, where basically up is down, left is right, backwards is forward. So all your senses are backwards. So everything's backwards and nothing makes sense. It inverts all your perception
That's
of
hard
reality.
to draw.
It's actually yeah. Well, basically, Aizen like goes to block and he gets cut over here, right? Like he goes to cut this way and he gets hit in the back. Like that's how they did it. It's very cool power. And a lot of people say his Shikai is of a Bankai level because you don't find out his Bankai until a visual novel after the manga finished,
Oh my god.
or a light novel. Sorry.
So it's not going to be in the anime?
Well, hopefully, if the anime is good, I assume they're gonna animate the
Okay.
light
Yeah,
novels
that's
because they
fair.
need more material,
That's
and they're
fair.
really cool. This one's called "Can't Fear Your Own World," and it's actually really cool. What do you think his Bankai is? If his Shikai is the inverted world,
He creates a whole world that you are transported to if you inhale his Shikai. And this world is double upside down. So it's normal.
all the way across the sky. No, his Bankai, he can't use it. He never uses it in the anime because of this. What his Bankai is everyone in 1,000-mile radius. All their friends become allies, and all their allies become friends. So if he's with a big crowd of people that
Oh
are
my
just enemies,
God.
they would all tear each other apart. But if he uses it, his friends also get hit, so he can only use it when he's completely by himself.
That's crazy. That's wild. That's
It's
wild.
wild.
Okay.
It's super wild.
Who's next?
All right, next up, Soy Fong, the captain commander.
This
sorry,
lady,
the captain
she had a
of-
poison thing.
Oh, do you remember the details?
I don't know. She was fighting. Okay, look, Nick. Another problem I have
She
with
fought
this.
Yoriichi.
Another problem I
Yeah.
have with this. It's not a big
Yeah.
problem, but there
Sure.
are several times where something turns into a woman with big titties. There's
There's a
Yoriichi,
cat and there's the
there's
girl.
Yoriichi,
Yeah.
there's Mel, and there's
Nell.
there's Nell, and there's the fat lady who makes
Oh.
food, and then she turns
The
into
Zero
a skinny
Squad.
lady with big boobs because
Well,
she made
actually,
so much
she was
food.
always that lady. She just then
Okay,
gained a couple
but
pounds.
yeah,
we don't
sure.
fat shame on this
Okay,
podcast,
okay,
Marcus.
sure.
Like
We
everybody
both
can
know
gain a
what
couple
the
pounds. And
creator
that's
was doing.
completely okay.
We both know what the creator was doing. Okay. Where's the fourth thing? I'm waiting for the fourth thing. Ichigo's
don't-
sword, Ichigo's Zenpakuto is not really.
It's
It's not really
It's
this.
not, it's
The
not.
old
It's not a girl. It's not a girl.
creepy
It's not
guy.
a girl.
It's a woman with big titties.
It's so funny what you're saying is like interesting if I could spoil something, but I won't. But it's not a woman with big titties. But do you remember the details of her Zanpakuto? I'll give you the point if you can give me any of the details.
Poison.
Anything more?
It was a little finger thing that poison, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The whole thing was it put a poison in, but
And it
then
made a
she
little
had
flower,
to
and she had to hit you again there or something.
she had to lay you twice. Yes.
Yeah.
So her Shikai is that you get hit twice and you die. What do you think her Bankai was?
You get hit 3 times and you die.
Well, that would be worse.
I know. But this shit doesn't make sense. The other guy's fucking Bankai made his friends enemies. What the fuck?
Is that your guess?
I don't know. Instant death?
Sort of. Her Shikai was called Suzume Baki, and I forget what her Bankai was called because I can't remember any of these fucking names. They're so complicated. But basically, the rationale is yes, one hit and you're dead. But the way the execution of that, everyone hates because she's like the super fast lady that's like papa, and she's like part of the spy
That's
division.
her whole thing. Being
Her
fast.
Bankai, she hates it, which is very funny. It makes a giant rocket launcher that's so powerful it should kill you in one hit. And it never works that way because she's fighting like over like godlike beings.
This show's stupid.
I know. It's so awesome. Bring up the next one. Gin
I hate it now.
Ichimaru.
Okay.
You
I
remember this
remember
dude?
this guy. He makes his sword long.
Yeah, he makes it
Okay.
really long.
You looked at me
And it
like
goes
I
like,
was
boop,
stupid when I said the guy slices. This guy just makes his sword long.
I know, which is actually really effective. But when you say it out loud, it's super dumb. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you got another point. What is his bank? His it's Shinso. It's his Shikai. What is his?
It
Bankai?
wasn't in the show.
His Bankai was in the show, but after you stop watching,
He makes it wide, so it gets really long and then it gets really wide.
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
You want to know the truth?
Yeah. Oh, it becomes smaller.
No.
No, for some reason
You're
I
on the
remember
right
sword
track,
becoming
though.
smaller or something.
No,
Okay.
you're right. So his Shikai is his sword gets really long. His Bankai is it gets even longer.
Wow. That's so stupid.
It gets long like a city, like a whole city long.
Oh, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. I love it.
All right. Next
Okay.
up, Aizen, our boy Aizen.
This guy, I have no clue.
Sosuke Aizen.
I have
really?
no idea
You
what his
know
thing
what it
is.
is.
No,
You
I
saw
don't.
it. He's a big guy. You did. It's at the beginning. It's one of the first Shikais we see.
No, I don't remember. Time thing? He has a time thing?
It's Kyoka Sugetsu. His Shikai is total illusion.
Illusion. Okay,
He
I
can make
remember that.
anything look real.
Got it. What's his
All
Bankai?
he has to do. Any guesses?
He makes anything real. Instead of looking real, he just makes it real.
Marcus, that is what a lot of people theorize that his Bankai could be.
Uh-huh.
But to this day, Sasuke Aizen, the ultimate baddie, one of the most powerful beings in all the universe, hasn't shown us his Bankai.
Even in the manga? Wow.
And some people, so this is kind of a spoiler, but some people think that he doesn't have one. He's just that strong. His Shikai is that strong. Some people think he's just never revealed it. Some people think maybe it's actually weaker than a Shikai, like Shinji is. Some people think that he like poo-pooed at the fact that he even needed one because he was so strong without it because he's so arrogant. And he just pretended he had one with his total illusion. Nobody knows to this day. It's one of the big mysteries of Bleach. What could Sasuke Aizen's Bankai be?
What did Aizen? What is? I honestly, I know he wanted to make.
You stopped watching. You didn't
I stopped
finish,
watching,
yeah.
so he wanted to make stronger Soul Reapers. But what?
No.
Was
He wanted
doing?
himself to be transcendent. He wanted to be
but
the
no
most
one
powerful.
else.
He wanted to go and kill the Soul King or become the Soul.
The Soul
King.
King's in the sky.
I forget because Sasuke Aizen either wants to kill or become the Soul King, and Yu Bak wants to either kill or become the Soul King. One of them
Got
is
it.
one is the other. I forget which is which.
Okay.
But basically, he wants to be God. He wants to go kill God
Okay.
or become God
Got it.
because he's so fucking arrogant. Interesting though. No Bankai. Last guy, Ichibe Hyosobi.
I don't
the
know who this guy
captain
is.
of the Zero Squad. You met him.
Oh, the Sky People.
Yeah,
All those Sky
the
People
Zero
had
Sky.
stupid powers so far. They had healing stuff, right? Like one guy healed, the other guy cooked well.
Well, you find out that the Zero Guard Squad are all of them because they created things
He created
that were
Bankai.
important.
He
did it.
created the concept of Bankai. He discovered it. Okay, what else?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
You're so fucking close to what his power is, Marcus. You're so goddamn close. His Shikai is called Ichimonji. Any idea what a Shikai is?
He unleashes people's Bankai.
No.
No, I have no idea.
His sword turns into a giant paintbrush,
Oh my god.
and he is able to cover anything in a black ink.
Oh my god.
And when he does, it loses its name.
Oh.
So the concept of naming, which is really big in Japanese stuff, but any idea of what his Bankai is? If his Shikai takes away names?
It gives names?
Yes, you did it! Bankai!
Wow.
He is the captain of the Zero Squad, the most powerful Soul Reaper, because he has given everything its name.
Huh. Interesting.
Which again, a lot more in Japanese like culture, but like the giving of its name is its power. Right?
Got it. Yeah,
Like, that's a
especially 'cause
concept we see.
that's the whole thing with Senpakuto, the swords in the show.
Yeah.
If you know its name, then you can become closer to it and unlock its power.
Yeah. So he has given everything its name.
Mhm.
So when he fights, he can give and take away names.
Interesting.
This is really cool.
Interesting.
Marcus, you won.
Yeah.
job.
I'm the best.
Nice.
I'm the best. I
Good
got them
job.
all right.
And honestly, Marcus, if we had all the time in the world, I would love to literally go through every single.
Oh, I
shutdown
know
and
you
play with this
would.
game with you. Oh, I love it because some of them are just even more dumb, and some of them are cooler. but
Yeah.
some of them are even more dumb.
But that's the thing. I think I like the concept of Bankai a lot. Like this thing, you have an ability, you get closer with your sword, it does a cool thing, right? Like I want to see everyone's Bankai, and they've introduced 5 million characters in this thing, all with unique Bankais. It's very creative, but I feel like it's not always used in the most creative, cool way it could be used.
Sometimes they're with so many characters, there are not some of them are going to be a swing and a miss.
Yeah, like there's a
100%.
guy who has the power. He makes things heavy with the sword when he hits it.
Cool Shikai.
That's really cool. It could be.
We don't know what his
used-
Bankai is. He
it
doesn't have a
could
Bankai.
be used in a really cool way, but like, I don't know. He just makes people sword heavy and then they can't carry it.
Which is strong.
Yeah.
But that's also his Shikai. What's his Bankai? He doesn't have one yet.
Oh.
He might in the future. Are there any characters you know of that you'd like, wow, I want to know what their Bankai is that you don't know?
No. I think for the most part with all of the Bleach characters, I want to watch the reveals happen when I.
Oh, I wasn't going to tell you. I was just
okay.
curious if there's one you
Okay.
were hoping to see that you don't
I
know.
don't remember.
I don't spoil it
the
anymore.
question mark sword guy, the gravity guy. Yeah, I want to see his thing. The guy with
Yeah.
69 on his face. Did he ever get a Bankai?
He got a Bankai again in a light novel after the anime,
Okay.
after the manga finished.
Okay.
I can tell you what it is.
What is it?
So
Oh my god.
so you found out that his Zanpakuto aren't his pinwheel swords.
Uh-huh.
It's actually the chain underneath. And when he Bankais, basically he gets like a million lengths of the chain and it creates this giant ball. And in that area, nothing can die. He has like control over life and death and nothing can die.
That's weird.
I think I'm getting that right. It's very complicated. Shuhei Hitsagi is his name. And his Bankai.
This sounds like one of those like top 10 Bankai and Bleach videos, and it's like, oh, actually, from this one random thing, this guy makes the where you can't die.
The Bankai is Fushi no Kojio. It takes the form of a giant sphere of jet black chains hovering in the air. It actually looks really cool. It also connects to the ground and finally has it has his chains wrapped around his own neck. Which is really cool. And
Aesthetically, that is cool.
Aesthetically, it looks beautiful. If you look at it right now, you can look at it while I'm explaining what it does.
Okay.
And what it does is, his Shikai has control over life and death. His Shikai has connection over life and death. His Bankai traps his opponent in a chain prison and stagnates everything within the prison, even life and death, creating a world that resembles the world before Soul Society was born. So, like, basically, you can't die. It prevents death from occurring
Oh.
to Shihei and his opponent. And any injury done is instantly undone.
So it's just like ultimate stalemate.
Yeah, and the Bankai uses the Reiatsu of him and his opponent. So the Reiatsu drains them out. So the Bankai drains them both. Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens in the light novel. I haven't like read it and like I know about it. I haven't read it.
Yeah.
Bleach is complicated.
It's complicated, and I feel like that is a
complicated.
barrier to entry for some people.
100%. That can never be my argument. There is a huge, like, I asked Lexi if she wanted to watch, and she's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Honestly, baby, super fair.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like it. I want you to watch some of these fights because they're so cool.
Yeah.
But like, if you want answers, you are not getting them unless you do research.
I am trying to, it's funny because it's like, okay, cool. Like I don't have a lot of time where I have like, okay, I could watch a show that I want to watch by myself or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't work
And this
from
is
home
20
or
minutes,
whatever.
20 minutes a week, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah,
It's easy.
but, so it's hard for me to find that time. So like I was hoping Bleach was accessible so we could watch it together, and it is definitely not. So it's added to the list of things I watch by myself on the phone on my way home on the bus.
Now I want to make sure we get to it before we get out of here because I'm sure there's a bunch more to talk about. But after the Yamamoto death, which is like devastating and really cool and awesome, Ichigo finally gets out of like the prison he's in, and he goes to fight Yhwach.
Yeah.
And then Yhwach has to leave. That scene was, and this is why a lot of people are hopeful about this anime, that scene was extended from the manga.
Okay.
That fight is cool in the manga. That fight in the anime was so fucking badass.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm glad that they're
awesome.
doing that. I think a lot of people give anime shit or whatever, and like we used to be plagued with fillers growing up watching anime. Now they just take breaks, which is I think is better. But I think that the benefit to anime or the benefit to anything, like when you bring it to a new medium, is to use that medium, right? Like if you are making anime of a manga, add to it, add the things that you don't see, add the minutes between pages. Like I'm glad that they're doing that with this.
Well, it's not only that, you know those scenes you saw where Ishida is like talking to his dad and looking at his journals, like, because he kind of had the inkling this enemy seemed like a Quincy, but he's like, what the fuck does that mean? So he's
Yeah.
like looking through his grandfather's notebook and shit. That stuff is all new.
Oh wow.
That just wasn't in the manga. Yeah. Ishida is shown at the beginning, and then he's like, I'm not gonna go fight. And then he's just not there. And then he shows up, as you could assume, this isn't a spoiler. This is the Quincy arc, obviously has a big part to play.
Yes.
But when he shows up, it's like, how did we get there?
Mm-hmm.
They're filling that in a little bit, which is amazing and correct and great. And hopefully that continues.
Yeah. That would be cool to see for sure.
Are there any other moments from the show that were like, wow, that really stood out? Wow, I want to talk about that. That was so amazing.
I mean, all of the fights were great. The music is
So good.
great. The like
All the
art
music
is
is great.
great. I feel like the clothing options are great. I was talking to Daron about this, that like it is one of the few anime or manga that you like see diversity. You see diverse characters. You see it's like One Piece is similar, where you see every character like, oh, that person like has their own story. That person has their own story. And here specifically, you see like minorities, like, oh, there's like a black Arankar, the Chad's Hispanic. Like you just see stuff that you don't see in anime a lot of times, which is kind of nice.
That's really true. That's really true. You can tell that he is really interested in the world as a whole. Like he fashioned the Arankar around Spain and Spanish people. He modeled the, I don't know, it might be offensive, I don't really fucking know, but the Von der Reich around Germany and the Nazi aesthetic. The feudal Japan, like he's taking time periods and like different people in like his themes, and you can hear it in the music too. But you're right, there's a whole bunch of characters from like all walks of life. I don't know if he 100% nails it. But like considering the amount of caricature, considering the amount of caricature we get in most anime, that's just offensive that I can't like explain. He mostly gets it right. You know? Like Yurichi is one of the main characters of the show, and she's just dark. She just has dark skin. It's not played up for laughs. It's not exaggerated in a racist way.
No,
she just
she's
is.
great.
And you're right. That's super rare. It's really I'm really proud of Bleach for that. So I also wanted to talk to you about, we now have the Quincy, a whole new pantheon of people. What do you think, and are you excited about the fact of who they are and how there's 26, they all have a different letter that all give them their own unique power, and finding out all their backs? No, that's too much. No.
I gotta be honest, I feel like I am overwhelmed already. And the fact that you just like, because I knew they had letters, but I was like, maybe they're spelling something out. I didn't know they were doing the alphabet.
Yeah, they each get their. I
thought they were spelling something out. I was like, okay, there's J, there's whatever. You know,
I think it's called their Reich, their something.
But the fact that there's 26
it's called something.
Is overwhelming, because you just showed me a bunch of pictures of people that were already introduced, and I couldn't name all of them. Right. And then I have to like, there's all the captains, then there's all the vice captains, then there's all the lieutenants. There's like so many things that I already have to remember. And then you're adding 26 new people for them to fight. Like, I don't want to remember all this stuff.
So each letter is a gift that Yu Habak blesses each Quincy with and gives them their special power. That's where they're like, their special thing comes from. But to make you feel better, they're not all important, which I actually appreciate. There are 26, and there are some that even to this day, we don't 100% know what their power is. Some people are like hoping this anime shows us. But if you remember when Kenpachi did his little spiel of how he came in.
I got it.
He was like, there was this one guy, he was like H the Howl, and he turned into a ape, and I killed him. Then there was this other guy, and he was Q the Question. He talked too much, so I slit his throat. So like you can kind of see, oh, he was the Question. He like had some kind of quiet, but it didn't fucking matter. There are enough of them that are like jokey and like they're dead now. And it's like, you know, but some of them are really interesting, and some of them make no goddamn sense. Like the way I just explained some of these Shikai and Bankai, some of them go even more off the rails with the fucking, but some of them are cool. Yeah. Some of them are really fun, and some of them are simple. One girl, Bombietta, she makes bombs.
Okay.
She blows shit up.
I got it.
You know?
That's easy.
And there's some people, B
for bombs, thank you.
Yeah, but then just one more small spoiler. There's one character. He is a luchador aesthetic.
Yeah.
And his power is the more he gets cheered on, the more powerful he gets.
Oh my god.
And so he conjures this little guy who's like his cheerleader. And like when he keeps he's losing a battle and the little guy's like, you can do it, you can do it. He gets stronger. And then he gets stronger.
God.
And then you try to kill the little guy and he's immortal.
Oh my
So-
god.
So if I can't explain to you his power limits because there aren't any.
Oh my god.
Because even when he gets slayed down, you cheer him back up. He's back, baby. And some of them are weird and ethereal and
yeah.
but cool. Honestly,
Yeah.
when you watch it, it's really cool. It's really cool.
I think
Oh,
that is, it's like the rule of cool. If it's cool, stick it in and we'll make it work afterwards. We'll make it make sense later. Is
Yeah.
how Bleach works.
yeah, and some of them don't even bother.
Yeah.
Oh, but you did see one of them, Fear, the Stern Ritter, who fought Byakuya,
I don't remember.
Rukia's brother. You did. And his power was fear.
Oh, yeah.
Really
Yeah, that
fucking
was
cool, right?
That was
Like that Stern Ritter's so cool. He
that
looks cool.
was something for sure.
You don't like it?
I don't like the stealing Bankai thing because all the captains
Oh,
are
sure.
stupid. I understand they were like, oh, we thought they were stealing it, not stealing it. And it's like, okay, like fucking
I get it. It's
Don't
a,
use
it's a
it.
little plotty. It's a
Don't
little
use
plot
it.
devicey.
yeah.
It's a little plot devicey. But like the story it makes out of that, like Byakuya losing and that
Yeah.
awesome speech he gave to
Mhm.
Ichigo right before he went and kicked Yuhabak's butt.
Yeah.
Like that was such a cool moment. Like I accept. But you're right. It is a plotty.
Yeah.
And the three of them
the
use
trap
their
card thing
Bankai.
again. It's like, well, actually, you try to use your Bankai and we can steal it. And blah, blah, blah.
I think the coolest part about it though is that all that stuff really puts center the science guys, fucking hat guy and
Mhm.
weird fucking painted face guy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they play a big part in this arc because you need to fucking figure this shit out. Like
Yeah,
this
that's
weird
true.
shit that's going on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest part of the arc. Whilst it's so long, but it happened pacing wise too quickly that a lot of things fall to the wayside. There are moments in this that are just badass and cool for like
Yeah.
all these tertiary secondary characters we don't see from. And some people want the complaint honestly is there's not more of it because there's
Yeah.
people like Rose is a captain. He's that blonde-haired visored
Mhm.
captain that came back. His thing's like a whip.
Yeah.
We see his Bankai, but it happens so fast we don't get to see it like really do something.
Yeah.
And like the complaint is we didn't get more.
Yeah.
Which is like a good complaint to have, right?
good.
You know,
I-
all together.
Yeah. I also want to, before we end, talk about Kenpachi. He was my favorite captain. He's my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
character in all of Bleach. And he's still very cool. And I love him. It was cool just seeing him with those guys come out, be like, I
Yeah.
fucking killed 3 of them, whatever. You know? And,
And
like,
then completely blown back by Yuhabak.
yeah. And then they were introduced, we introduced a new character. Not a new character. It's okay.
It's a
Ugh,
reveal. It's a big reveal.
Another trap card. When you have like 10,000 characters, it's like not plot armor, it's like writer armor where you like can just be like, oh, actually the whole time Steve over there, who I introduced in chapter 1, has the power to double reverse Uno and can stop any stealing of a Bankai. And you're like, okay, like sure, I guess so.
All the long-standing shonens do it, but I would say Bleach probably does it the worst because he set up the system where everyone has these unique
Yeah.
powers, and he just hasn't shown us yet, right?
Yeah.
But what did you think of the reveal? I was shocked when it happened
I
because
didn't
she's always
care.
been
And from-
well,
she's always been reserved and she's actually like secretly a criminal, but it just felt like another trap card. And I
Yeah.
feel like at a certain point it stops being like, oh my God, you played a trap card. It's like, okay, I know something's coming. Like what shit is coming?
Yeah, I would say my only complaint about the show is actually what you're referring to, which is the drop. You haven't watched the battle yet, but like Kenpachi versus the old Kenpachi,
Yeah.
Unohana, I think is a little confusing. And I think the show had a chance to clean it up a little bit.
Mhm.
And it's a little too faithful to the manga.
Okay.
Because I think you're right. It's a little like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's there. There are
Yeah.
flecks of it, and it is a cool moment. And the next episode, which you didn't see, is that fight between the two of them. So if you like Kenpachi, next episode is way more Kenpachi, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But I wish it feels like the anime, whilst sometimes taking its time, is also going a mile a minute. But that's also because the arc went a mile a minute, right? So
Yeah.
it's not really its fault, but I kind of just hope they slow it down a little bit coming soon. Like, I hope they're just trying to go fast to get to certain moments and then they're going to slow down. I'm kind of scared they don't. I'm kind of scared it's really going to really go fast. And then when you go fast, it takes people like you out of it because you don't have time to like catch up.
Exactly.
You're just like throwing. But yeah.
We need some time to breathe, which honestly, I feel like with like Ichigo going through the levels and healing and meeting new people, that feels like classic shonen where it's like, okay, we're getting like a chill moment now.
Yeah, but why not? Again, that's another complaint people had. The Zero Squad is supposed to be the ultimate. It's basically 5 captains in a group.
Yeah.
They're like the most powerful Shinigami from the past. More. Give me more. Like, why is that guy a healer? Where did he come from? Have him like, he was cool and interesting. He's his own goofball character. Like, he's so good at making character. These guys seem so I want to know. I want to know more.
Yeah.
So show it to me.
Yeah. The
right?
problem with that too is that you have like 20,000 characters that you're like, okay, I want to see them again, but there's too many characters and each one of them can have their own freaking anime spinoff.
They really can.
Yeah.
Which sometimes works and sometimes you have to just move on. I get it.
Yeah.
But small spoiler, as of now, most of the Zero Squad, we barely know what their Shikais are, and we definitely don't know what most of their Bankais are. And like, hopefully this show, because, you know, dealing with what's going on up there is the only chance we're going to get. Hopefully the anime slows down and reveals some of that stuff for us.
Yeah.
But, you know, because for example, the Kenpachi Stern Raiders that he killed, they do add a little bit in the anime, and now we know what their powers kind of were. Their shrifts, their letters.
Yeah.
We didn't before. They were just dead. Yeah. So there's little things like, we understand the fans are upset about this.
Yeah.
It's just no way of knowing what they will and will not do.
Okay. Interesting.
Sorry, I'm very chatty. It's
a lot of. I mean, that's a podcast. People are waiting a long time.
I've been waiting a long time for this. I've been waiting for years. I read all of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, and I've been watching videos about it for years. And then I didn't even mention it, the Bleach Gacha mobile game, Brave Souls, sucked me in hard with Bleach because you unlock all the characters, and it even made up new power levels and bankais we haven't seen and things like that in the app, and they got professional artists to do them. And even cool. Kubo came back to do like some of the character design. Like, there's a what if Ichigo Quincy. Like, what if he was just a Quincy? What would that look like? It's fucking badass.
That's cool.
There's like, what if he used this power more? It's fucking badass. Like, there's like, it's like fanfic from the creator in this game.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's so cool.
That's pretty cool.
Well, Marcus, is there anything else about Bleach 1,000-Year Blood arc? 1,000-Year Blood War?
I'm done.
You'd like to talk about?
I'm done.
All right. Same here. Marcus, did you like Bleach? I don't even fucking know. Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War.
You almost had me go back during the game to not liking it, but I liked it. I had fun.
It might be the most badass for badass sake thing there is.
Yeah.
But you can't deny how badass
it's cool. And if I don't think about it and I turn off my brain and I ignore all the exposition and I ignore all the like, oh, this person is just a bad and this is what this power is called. If you just turn off your brain, you're like, cool power, cool text, baby. And that's all you need. It's great.
Marcus, are you going to continue watching Bleach?
I am, especially if the next episode's Kenpachi. Let's go, my man. I want to see him fight. I want to see him do cool shit.
Yeah, and the one after that is the like, why Ichigo? You know,
yeah.
People talk fondly about it. It's called Everything But the Rain, and when it came out in the manga, everyone talked about how beautiful it was and how interesting awesome. And how we finally got these moments. And it is. I remember reading it and being shell shocked about how cool it was. I might be hyping it up too much though, but I thought that for the Yamamoto Bankai reveal, and it delivered.
Okay,
it fucking delivered.
Okay,
so we'll see. And Marcus, would you ever recommend Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War?
No, unless you were a big Bleach head. Fan. Then I would say yes. It's a great continuation, and honestly, it's a better adaptation of the manga than the original anime was.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I would say
Painstaking.
definitely if you're a Bleach fan, but not for anybody else.
There are people who show the manga and show the anime, and it's like
Yeah.
one for one on so many levels,
That's
on
awesome.
so many different parts. It's really cool. It's
Yeah.
really, really beautiful. I will say, I agree with you. You have to watch Bleach to watch this.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I will say, overall, I think you can go back and watch Bleach. There
Hmm.
are cringe moments. There are moments with Khan and things that are like
Oh my
dumb,
god.
and you have to check out. You have
Khan.
to check out where some of the fillers are. But
Yeah.
like overall, like going through the Soul Society arc, I think holds up. Seeing these badass characters show up and wondering, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's just worth it.
Yeah.
So, if there's kids right now that are like, I mean, because think about this. How many kids watch Dragon Ball Super that never watched Dragon Ball? I thought
That's
never
true.
in a million years no one would care about Dragon Ball Super that didn't watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Super is doing numbers. There are
Mhm.
kids who watch Dragon Ball Super, and then maybe now we're going back.
Yeah. That's true.
I think this could do the same thing. I'm hoping.
Maybe. I could
'Cause I
see
want more
people
Bleach
seeing
shit.
this and thinking it's cool and then going back and watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that happens.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, that was Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War. Next week, we are doing our Patreon episode. We are doing the new movie, Violent Night, in theaters now. You guys can go to patreon.com/nowtrythiscast to join the conversation and make sure to influence and vote on what we do every month. You guys get to decide. And if you can, we would love a review on iTunes and subscriptions on Twitch. And now I'm naming too many things. Guys, just go to the Patreon, patreon.com/nowtrythiscast.
Also, before we leave, just to add another thing, shout out to One Piece, the One Pace edit of One Piece called One Pace, which is very funny. They edited down One Piece, not a lot like the Naruto was done. They edited like
Sure.
little, like, oh, this is on this one frame too long, and editing it down that way, basically squeezing in 2 episodes into 1 episode length. And so if you want to watch One Piece and catch up, it's a perfect thing. And I think they should do that for Bleach as well.
Oh my God, I'm going to watch this. Because I started watching Bleach. I got like 50 episodes in. I was like, I love this, but I ain't got the time.
But if they did that for Bleach, I feel like that would be perfect.
It really would.
That's all I
Oh my
wanted to
God.
say. Guys, thank you for joining us. We love you. Remember to go out there and try some things. Good night.
Good night.
Friends get together so they can try things. Yell about it to this podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Okay, I really do have to know now. Are you reading about Bleach?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Good. That'll make my point easier.
Got it. Okay.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
finding
No,
the
I
pictures.
got it.
Got it.
Got this shit memorized.
No. Jesus Christ. I'm a real fan and I don't fucking know anything.
Dude, we'll talk about it.
Oh, I'm sure you're like, what the fuck is any of this?
Feels like, no, I'm not going to say anything. It feels like nothing. I will say nothing about
Nothing
Bleach.
you've ever experienced before because
Nothing
it's so
I've
good.
ever experienced before.